Hello everyone and welcome to My Fantasy Journey, a channel dedicated to opinion-based fantasy book reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about a book that I've had for a while. It's a book that I've attempted to read many times, and for some reason every time I looked at it, I thought about it, I picked it up, I didn't feel like reading it. I don't know why, but I just didn't feel like it, and I just kept postponing it to read other books, and I think I even attempted to read this book once, and I read like 2 pages, and I was like, I'm going to read something else. I don't know why, because it's that type of book that you actually feel attracted to. I'm pretty sure that this happened to you guys, that there's a book that even though you don't know much about it, you're like, I feel attracted to this book and I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it. Sometimes, that doesn't happen. Sometimes a book, you feel good about it and disappointing, but with this book, I felt like I felt like a connection with it, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like it, which is ironic because it took me a long to read it, but I finally decided to pick it up and to read it, and I'm very glad that I did it because I actually find myself enjoying it a lot, and I'm very excited about the book itself and about the whole series. So yeah, I'm very excited to continue reading these because I really like the first one. So anyways, that being said, the book that I'm going to be talking about today is Wild Magic by Tamora Pierce. So, I actually didn't read it in this edition. I have another one, which is this one. This is the one that I read it from, which is the books, the 4-in-1. I love this edition. First of all, I mean, just look at that cover. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I mean, this other cover is really nice as well, but I like this series because, of course, it's the 4 books in one, and when you have a lot of books, you need bookshelf space, and books like these save that for you. So, and I do like the I do like having 4 individual books for series, but I think I prefer having like the 4 books in one because it just like even though sometimes you want to go to one book and then individually, and that kind of like this makes you feel like you need to read all of it in one go. But it saves shelf space. So yeah, and I do really like this edition, and this is kind of like a rare edition as well. I actually have the 4 books separately. I had bought them a long time ago, but this one itself is in pretty good conditions, but the other ones that I have are in pretty bad conditions. You know that sometimes you buy books online and they describe them as being very good or good, and sometimes you buy them described as good and they arrive in really good condition. Sometimes you buy them described as very good and they arrived like completely destroyed and just like horrible conditions. So yeah, so this one is in pretty good conditions, but the other ones are pretty bad. There's one that even came with like curly pages, as if it was wet, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. So, and the 4th book also that I have is not the same in the series, and I like to have the 4 same editions. If there's like a series, I like to have all the books in the same edition, not like in different editions, because I don't know, I feel like it doesn't look that good. So yeah, the 4th one was in another edition, so yeah, so it was kind of like not in very good condition. So I came across this one in a bookstore, and it was a very good price. So I was like, I'm just going to get this edition, and and just leave that one and read this one instead because this is just much better. So yeah, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to be holding the other one for the sake of my hand, holding a heavy, because that book's pretty heavy, holding a much lighter book throughout all the videos, so yeah. But anyways, let's just dive right into the review. So yeah, like I said, Wild Magic by Tamora Pierce. I'm going to start by saying a little bit very general about what this book is about. So this book is about this girl called Diane. I kept pronouncing her name as... No, actually, I'm wrong. Her name is Dane. I kept pronouncing it as Diane for some reason. I don't know why I read that wrong. But her name is Dane. So it's about this young girl called Dane. She is she is actually an orphan, and she's she's poor, but she has this really special connection with animals, and especially with her horse. but it's not only with horses, you know, it's with like animals in general. And so she's one day in this village fair, and she meets this this royal horse mistress, sorry. And you know, that horse mistress, she's looking for somebody to help her with her ponies. And so she meets Dane, and Dane, you know, kind of like tells her, you know, I would love to help you with your horses. You know, I would like to go with you and have a job, pretty much. Um, and so, you know, she notices, the horse mistress notices that she does have like this special ability and this tact with horses, and she decides to take her on board. And then from there on, you know, Dane discovers that her connections with animals, not only with horses, with all animals, it's much more meaningful and deeper than she thought. It's actually downright magical. And so her adventure begins, you know, going with the horse mistress to the royal, you know, castle, and meeting people there, and then her adventure starts. So that's kind of like what I'm gonna tell you about it. Like I said, super general, super short review, super short summary. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna start saying the things that I liked about this book. So I did like quite a lot of things. I loved, this is not like in any particular order, but I love the adventure in this book. I like that she, you know, she goes from this place to another, and she keeps like discovering things throughout the way, and you know, kind of like exploring new territories, and then meeting new people, you know, and like making new friends and meeting new animals also, which is something that I'm going to talk about later. So I did like the kind of like adventure aspect from it, that they go and visit different parts of the kingdom and stuff like that. I thought that was really nice. Something else that I liked was you know, this book is written in pretty simple words. It's very straightforward to read. You know, the language is very, very, you know, it's very easy to understand. It's not so enigmatic or anything. It's very straightforward and very easy to digest. But I do like that even though she uses simple words and simple reading, it does not fail to create an atmosphere or an image. Because sometimes I feel like I've read books that the writing is just so plain that it just completely loses like essence, and it doesn't like draw images on your mind, and it just creates like a flat atmosphere. That didn't happen with this book, which I'm very big on atmosphere. I like a good atmosphere, and I'm very picturesque, so I like to imagine things very well. So even though this book was written with, you know, like a simple language, it didn't fail to you know, to create like that atmosphere and image that you want to have when you read, you know, a good book. So that I liked. Something else that I liked was the world itself. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that, about the things that I didn't like that much. But I did like the world itself. I would love to explore it more on the other books. But it seems like such a cool kingdom and such a cool place with so many awesome like little places in between the country, and I did really like this world, and I cannot wait to like explore more of it in the other books. So that I liked a lot. Something else that I liked was Dane's power and the way she develops that power. You know, the power, of course, of like talking to animals. That's amazing, and communicating with them, and just like the connection that she has with them is so deep. And, you know, and the way that she goes from just feeling something that, you know, I'm like connected to, you know, I like animals and I feel drawn to them, to being something that's actually magic and something that actually helps her and helps the people around her to defeat, you know, evil, and to fight against, you know, the bad people, everything. I really like that. And yeah, and I wish I had the power, you know, of like talking to animals and stuff like that. That's awesome. So yeah, I like that a lot. Something else that I liked was the characters. They are not that complex, you know, they're not like really complex characters, but they are very fun characters. They're not like, you know, at least for me, they didn't feel that dull. Or just like, you know, sometimes there are characters that you feel like nothing when you read about them. But even though the characters here were simple, they weren't very deep or very complex or anything, I did find myself enjoying them quite a lot, and I did like the characters in this book. Some of them were really fun, and I like that. So yeah. Something else that I liked in this book, of course, are the animals, the mythical beasts, and the magic. I love the fact that this book, of course, has to do a lot with animals, and I love seeing the way that she discovered different animals and how she connected with them, and just mentioning all the animals, in in the kingdom, and the some of the mythical beasts and stuff like that, and the magic that she has and the way she uses it. I thought that was really, really cool, and I really love that aspect from this book. So that was one of the things that I really, really liked about it, just the animals, and all that, and her powers, and I thought that was really cute and really, I don't know, it was very, how do I say it? I just found it really charming. So, I like that quite a lot. Um, Something else that I liked about this book was the appearance of older characters. I love that, because Tamora Pierce has other series, and I love the fact that, like, older characters that appear on the other series that she has appeared in this book. I really like that, even though I have not read yet Alana. I do have it. I have the Alana Quartet, I have the Protector of the Small, and I have the Immortals. So I do have it, and I know who she is, but I haven't read about her, and I haven't read the books. But still, I'm glad that she made her appearance in this book, and that other older characters also appear in this book. I really like that because, sometimes you like characters and you just can't get enough of them. And then find when you find them on other books, you're like, oh yay, it's good to see you again. It's almost like seeing an old friend or something like that. So even though, like I said, I don't know them that well, because I haven't read like the books yet, I still really like that aspect. Because Alana does seem like a really likable and cool character, and so does the king and the queen and stuff like that. So I really like that also. Um, yeah, something else that I liked was, like I said, the atmosphere of the book was really nice. It was a very light read, very enjoyable. Um, of course, there's a good, there's dark things going on and stuff like that as well. And, but, other than that, even though it had a really nice atmosphere and it was a very light read, and I enjoy that a lot because, sometimes you just want to read like a comfort read, and something that just makes you kind of like happy and all that. And this kind of book, I feel like, would do that. So it was a really like nice atmosphere and light read. So I did like that. And, overall, I just think that this was a lovely book. It really, really was. So I quite liked it. I thought it was lovely and very enjoyable. And like I said, I cannot wait to read the other books in this series. So yeah, so now I'm gonna talk about the things that I didn't like. Overall, there are no major like drawbacks for me, things that really bothered me. But I'm gonna mention some little details that I didn't quite find myself like loving, or enjoying that much. So I would have liked, even though I love the world and they did explore, they went to other, to different like kingdoms, or sort of say towns and stuff like that, more say. I would have liked to explore a little bit more, but then again, there are 4 books in this series, so I can't say that, this book felt stuck, because like I said, I did like the fact that they explored. So there are 4 books in the series, and the quartet, 4 books. So of course, I'm pretty sure that we're going to explore more of this world in the other books. So for me, that wasn't really that much of a drawback, and this book didn't, like I said, it didn't feel stuck or anything. So that's okay. But yeah, I do want to explore more of that world in, in the other books, because I did really like it. Something else that kind of like didn't like that much, but it's something that didn't bother me really either, is that Dane can be very childish sometimes, but of course she's like 13, and she does develop in the book with her magic, but I feel like she's still you know, you can see kind of like maturity later on, but you know, sometimes she feels just a little bit too childish, but that's okay because, like I said, there are 4 books. You know, there's more space for her to grow, so that's not something that bothered me. And she is very brave a lot of times, also. So you know, it's just something that I noticed and something that's okay. Something that I didn't like, and I hope I'm wrong about this, is the developing romance. I'm not gonna say between who because, of course, I don't want to spoil, but there's kind of, I don't know if it's romance. That's why I said developing. Maybe it starts like a little and then it escalates. But I really hope, I really, really hope. It wasn't bad in this book, you know. I was just like, what's going on? But it wasn't like too bad. But I just really hope that it doesn't happen because it's just going to kind of like ruin a little bit. Because I don't know, I just feel like it shouldn't be. But that's just me. But yeah, the developing romance, which I think is developing romance. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm just talking crap. It's something that I hope it doesn't happen. That I didn't like that much. So yeah, but you know, who knows? Um, Something else that I kind of didn't like is that I wanted to know more about Dane's friends because she does make friends and stuff like that, and I love knowing about the friends that she makes, and I would love to hear more of their conversations, learn more about their personalities. And you do know about, you know, her friends, about some of them, but there's some that I would have liked to meet more, you know, and just like see more of them and stuff like that, and have them more involved and stuff like that, because I feel like sometimes they were just like mentioned, but then I didn't really see them that much. And I don't like kind of like mentioning other books, and you know, when I'm reviewing this one. But for example, I remember when I read Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, I love the fact that, you know, the Goose Girl makes a lot of friends and that they're very involved in what's going on with her, and you can see, and I just love friendship in books for some reason. It's just something cozy and beautiful about it that just makes you feel like warm and fuzzy inside. And you know, and like having friends and having like your own, not squad, but you know, having your friends and then going on the adventures with them going through things with the character. I really, really like that. So that's why, you know, I would have liked to see that a little bit more in this book. And like, there are, you know, friends of hers that do get mentioned, and of course there are in the situation with her and stuff like that. But sometimes I feel like we don't get to know some of them more. You know, they're just mentioned. And like I said, I did like that a lot in the Goose Girl from Shannon Hale, that you know, there are you know, the main characters, the friends that she makes are very involved in the things that happen, and they do get mentioned quite a lot. And I think then you get the other books in the series, you get to know more about those friends. So I really like that. But in this case, maybe we'll get to know more about them in the other books. So it's not something that bothered me a lot either. So that's okay. Um, and yeah, and the last thing that that kind of like left me was that I felt like we needed some explanation on things, like who the heck was Cynthia and stuff like that, and like like I said, there are 4 books in this series, so maybe it is mentioned here and then it'll get explained. So that's why it's not something that I disliked, you know, because maybe it's not that it leaves you hanging. Maybe they'll explain it in the other books. So, but there are moments when I was like, who is this? You know, what are they talking about these immortal realm and stuff like that. I do have an idea because they mentioned some things, but there were some characters and some things that had just left me wondering, like, who are they, or you know, what's it about, and what does it have to do, and stuff like that. So yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be mentioned later on, so that's okay. Um, but that's pretty much the things that I didn't like, and they were very minimal. I didn't feel like they took like a lot of weight out of the book for me. So overall, I think this was a lovely read, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to read the other books in the series. I feel like I'm gonna love this series, and I think it's gonna become one of my top series, I feel, and I hope. So who would I recommend this book to? I'm sorry, what's wrong with my English today? I will recommend this book to, of course, if you like Tamora Pierce, obviously, then you have to read it if you haven't. But if you're very much into animals involved, you know, if you love animals and if you love like mythical creatures and you love kind of like a different fantasy. There is some action in it. I'm pretty sure that the Alana books have a lot of more action. Maybe the other books have more. There is action, but you know, if you're more into like light reads, but still, you know, a light read that still has a nice, you know, like depth, because it does have a world. There is a map, you know, about the world, so there is a world for you to explore. But if you like kind of like light fantasy reads that just make you feel nice, and if you love animals involved with magic, and you know, and strong, also feminine heroine, you know, like characters and stuff like that, then I think you will like this book a lot. And of course, if you're looking for a nice fantasy series also, then I think this might be a good choice if you like the things that I mentioned. And yeah, and overall, if you like fantasy reads that don't just make you go crazy with like too many complex things and stuff like that, but have a nice amount of like worlds and stuff like that, and stuff that is going on. So yeah. And who would I not recommend this to? Like I kind of like I always say on my other book reviews, if you're into much more complex, action-packed, kind of, you know, fantasy books, you know, with a lot of complex characters, a lot of things going on, puzzles to be solved in your mind, and books that, you know, take more effort to read and just more mind power to read, and, you know, something that you kind of like to makes you think more and stuff like that. And if you're looking for something more complex and more dark and stuff like that, then maybe you won't maybe you won't like this book. So that's pretty much it. I found it quite enjoyable. So yeah, I would give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. The thing is that for me, 5 stars is when it completes, you know, it completely leaves me like flabbergasted, you know, that I'm just like, wow, that's amazing, that it blew my mind. And why I did like this book a lot, it didn't like blow my mind like, oh my gosh, I am completely like, ooh, you know, I really did enjoy it. And like I said, this is the first book in a series also, so yeah, and 4.5 for me is like almost in the border of perfection also. So for me, this book wasn't in the, you know, like super perfect, but it was very good. 4, so I would say like 4 or 4.3, 4.2, if that makes any sense to you. But you know what I mean. But still, very nice book. I really enjoyed it. It was lovely, and I'm very excited about this series, and I cannot wait to read all the other books. So, well, Magic by Tamora appears. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. Have you guys read this book? Have you guys read Alana? Have you guys read any of the other Tamora Pierce series? What do you guys think about it? What do you guys think about this book? Have you read the full series? Like, tell me all about, you know, what have you read? Let's discuss Wild Magic. Let's talk about Tamora Pierce and all those good things. So yeah, if you want to join me on this journey, please feel free to subscribe. I will be, you know, uploading more cool reviews on really nice fantasy books. So yeah, I hope to see you guys on the comment section. I hope that you guys embark on this journey with me. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you in my next video, and read on. Bye bye.